وصحبه أجمعين. باب الفتوة. This is a chapter in the Risala Qurayshiyya teaching students to become Sufi. So to become Sufi, one of the characters you should have is Futuwa. And al-Futuwa, unless you lived it and lived among people who are practicing Futuwa, you probably don't understand it because it doesn't exist. If you come to a place like Britain, probably won't see it. And you won't see it in many Muslim countries now because Futuwa more or less has gone. To go really out of your way to do things. And try to find different meaning in English to al-Futuwa. So he put in Risala, the English copy, chivalry. Can you read it? Anyway. Chivalry?
Chivalry, yeah. Chivalry.
What that means to you?
Being noble.
Yeah, I found nobility, courteous and things. And Fitya, Allah named some of them in the Quran. إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. Those youngsters who were persecuted and left their village and ran away with their religion, and Allah Azza wa Jal made them sleep for 309 years until all these tyrants gone and new kings came and the religion was respected. Then they woke again. So they are called Fitya. Abu Ali al-Daqqaq said, the teacher, he said, العبد ساعيا أبدا في أمر غيره. You're really taking care of the affair of others. You forget yourself to look after others. So that's one of the definition. And the Prophet ﷺ said that the servant will لا يزال الله تعالى في حاجة العبد ما دام العبد في حاجة أخيه. Allah will carry on helping you while you are helping your brother. So when you are helping your brothers and sisters, Allah will take care of your affair. Without even asking him, you will find that Allah sorted your problem out. Yeah?
So what's the purpose of becoming a Sufi other than being close to God and for yourself? What's the benefit to others, society?
The Sufi. Yeah, this is one of the benefits, that you, instead of looking after your own affair, you're looking after others. So the others are benefiting from you, and you're neglecting your own needs. You're not neglecting, you're for the sake of Allah, sacrifice your needs for the help of others. Now we'll come across stories to show what the meaning. So those who practice the Futuwa, and Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu, and Zayd bin Sabit radiallahu anhu, and Nabi, the same hadith, لا يزال الله تعالى في حاجة العبد ما دام العبد في حاجة أخيه. So while you're looking after Muslim brothers or humanity, Allah will look after you. So to get the help from Allah, you need to help others. You stop helping others, Allah will stop helping you. And he quoted quite a few stories how brothers will be helping his own family, whatever, his brother or sister, whatever, or they are ill or they are disabled. They die, and then the help from Allah stop for him because you don't need anymore. You don't need it. Like we have my daughter's father-in-law was quite old, and his wife was looking after him in a lot of ways, and she rejected the kids, and she was looking like bathing him and things. And he died, and she died the next year. So Allah gave her all the energy and the ability while she was looking after the husband. And it's reported by a lot of cases in Britain. Will be like a wife helping the husband and vice versa. And one dies and the other one dies next year or the same year, sometimes in a week. Like, Allah give you help while you are helping others. And this is in the hadith. And the day of judgment, all the people will go to the prophets asking them to get the day of judgment started because the heat and the standing and they go to all the prophets and they were worried about talking to Allah. They said, no, we can't talk to Allah. Allah is so angry, and never seen him angry like this. And they go to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he will say, ana laha, I will do it. And then he will start asking Allah Azza wa Jal. He made sujood and he asked Allah Azza wa Jal to start the day of judgment, and they started. And the Prophet will say, ummati, when people were taken to hellfire and they belong to him, say, ummati, this is my ummah. Just worried about anyone of his ummah go to hellfire. And then the angels will say to him, this group, these, you don't know what they've done after you, so they don't belong to your ummah. And Al-Junaid said al-futuwa, to find people who really helping others out of their way, you go out of their way to help others in Sham, in Syria, and to find people who are able to express themselves in Iraq, and to find people of truth are in Khurasan. And also Al-Fudayl ibn Iyad said that al-futuwa as-safah an atharat al-ikhwan. So you just give blind eye to the mistakes of your brothers and sisters, just as if you've never seen it. وقيل الفتوى أن لا ترى نفسك فضلا على غيرك. You don't see that you have done a lot of goodness to others. You are worried that Allah might not accept what you're doing. So you don't come there, oh, remember I helped you that day? That's not from futuwa. And al-fata, the one who have these characters, he wouldn't have any enemy. He'll be always helping anybody. You know, help me. Just live. Sometimes he doesn't do it for his own self, but he does it for the others. And then futuwa, to be on the side of Allah Azza wa Jalla against your own self, against your own bad behavior. And al-fata, who will not be an enemy to anybody. And Nasr Badi said, the people of the cave, they were called fitya because they believe in Allah Azza wa Jalla without any invitation for anybody. They just figured out this creator to this universe and things. And al-fata, man kassara al-salam. Ibrahim was fata. سمعنا فتى يذكرهم يقال له Ibrahim. Fata, they heard the fata. So fata, Ibrahim was fata, who went and destroyed all these idols because they are worshipping the idols. They are not actually using their brain. So he was fata. He did something, nobody dared to do it. And whoever act against his own desire, he is a fata. And al-Muhasibi said, al-futuwa, that you might not be treated fairly, but you treat others fairly. And Uthman al-Makki said, futuwa husn al-khuluq, the good characters. And al-Junayd said, al-futuwa la tunafir faqiran wa la tu'arid ghaniyan. You don't object on anybody poor or something asking for help. You don't, you could have had a job, you lazy. You don't. You just help him. And you don't disagree with a rich. Yeah, it's fine. You don't want to give, don't give. And al-muru'a, having nobility and things, is part of futuwa. وهو الإعراض عن الكونين. You are not attached to any of these words. Even Jannah is not important for you. Pleasing Allah Azza wa Jalla directly, that's your main interest. And الفتوة يسوى عندك المقيم والطارئ. People are equal, whether he's a resident in the city or he's a passing by. You'll never see him tomorrow. I mean, racism in many countries exists. They just object for the foreigners to come. I mean, they said, some witnesses said that this 500 people on a ship which sank, they said that the Coast Guard put a rope on it and they tried to pull it to the side. So all the refugees were going to the other end to balance it. So the hate to the refugees made them drown them, 500 of them. And also it said, futuwa, tark ma tahwa lima takhsha. You leave whatever you like because you are afraid of Allah Azza wa Jal, that He will not, forgive you. And al-futuwa, to be futuwa, you don't care whether the one who eats your food is a believer or kafir. And that they take it from Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, when a Majusi, a fire worshipper, knocked on his door and he wanted some food. He said to him, I will feed you if you become Muslim. And the guy left. So Allah Azza wa Jalla said to him, I have been feeding him for 50 years. And he remained kafir. He asked you for one meal. You wanted to convert him. You want him to leave his religion and join your religion. So Ibrahim went after him and called him back and said, Allah criticized me. He said, he criticized you for this and this, and he believed. He said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. And Junayd said, al-futuwa kafful adha wa bathlul nada, to refrain from harming anybody and to be generous. And Sahel ibn Abdullah said, it is following the Sunnah. That's in the Sunnah, all in the Sunnah. And al-futuwa al-wafa wal-hifaz, to fulfill the promise and preserve the things belongs to others, whether preserve their reputation, preserve your money, preserve their honor. And الفتوة فضيلة تأتيها ولا ترى ولا ترى نفسك فيها. You have the futuwa characters, but you don't see yourself feta. So you are feta because you don't, showing off. And the futuwa, if you don't run away when somebody coming to ask you for help. That's a habit of some people. When they say, "Oh, he's going to ask me," he make a quick escape because he will ask for money or ask for help or ask for time out or whatever. And also, don't hide when people ask, come ask you for help. And futuwa, that you don't store things, you just and give excuses. So you just give away things. And futuwa, that you show that Allah has been generous to you, and keep your illnesses or the bad, experience to yourself, but show the ni'mah from Allah, the gift from Allah. And futuwa, if you invite like 10 people, you don't mind whether 9 came or 11 came. I give the lesson here, whether 1 came or none came or all full. Doing it for the sake of Allah, been doing it for years. You carry on. Al-futuwa tark al-tamyiz, you don't differentiate between people. And Ahmad ibn Khudraway, he said to his wife, Ali, he said, I want to invite for food somebody who was really famous with his futuwa, ayyaran shatiran. And he was the head of this fityan. And she said, you can't invite him. I said, why not? She said, if you want to invite him, you have to act as he acts. So you have to slaughter sheep and cows and donkeys along the way from his house to our house, and start giving people to show that you are feta like him. He said, yeah, I understand the sheep and the cows. Why the donkeys? She said, because you need to feed the dogs of the area as well. But that's his habit. The one you are inviting, that's his habit. If you want to match his habit, you need to show that, yes, you are also a feta. And they were invited to a meal, a group of people. Among them was Sheikh Shirazi. And when they ate, they slept. They couldn't go and pray tahajjud and things. And so they called the guy who invited them. What food you fed us? He said, I checked everything, but I forgot to check about the aubergine, where the aubergine was brought. So he called his chef and he said, where the aubergine came from? He said, I couldn't find anybody to buy aubergine, so I stole it from a farm. So they went to the farm and they said to him, we will give you money for 1,000 aubergine, because this guy stole some from you. He said, you're going to give me 1,000 aubergine? This guy made his best to please your guest, so I'm going to give him the farm and 2 hooks, two cows as well, and a donkey and a machine he can use to plant things, and hoping he will never steal again. So the one who the owner of the farm had so much futuwa in him, and like nobility and things, that he gave the farm and 2 cows and a donkey to carry and the machine to work on the farm, hoping that this guy will not steal again. Imagine here, take him to the police station. He stole. Find him. And they said the man married a woman, and engagement things, and then by the time the wedding, she had smallpox and her face became like jittery, smallpox, like pimples there, and quite a bit ugly. So what he did when the wedding and they went to the room, he said, there's something wrong with my eyes. I can't see. He didn't want to show her that he's coping and she's a burden now, and they've image is so ugly. I can't see. So he couldn't see, and she died 20 years later. Then he starts seeing, and people, oh, you can't see. Yeah, I didn't want to upset her. I didn't want to show her that, I made concession for her because she looks ugly now. And the Nun al-Masri, he said he was arrested and taken to the Khalifa because he said something, they thought he was zandaqa, disbelief. And while he was there, he saw a man giving drinks to people. And they had a nice dress and nice coat and things. And he said, who is that? They said, this is a guy who gave drink to the Sultan, to the ruler. And he said, can I have a drink? No, sorry. I said, is this the one who gives the ruler a drink? They said, no, he gives anybody. I said, can I have a drink for that? He gave him a drink. And then he said to his friend, give him a dinar. A dinar, I give him £50 in this money. And he said, you want me to take dinar from you? You are a prisoner. You are a prisoner. And it's not part of fatwa to abuse prisoners. If you were an ordinary guy, but to make use of you as prisoner in need for a drink of water. And ليس من الفتوى to make money, make profit out of your friend. So the Tajir called Ahmed ibn Sahel, a Tajir, he said, I bought from him a dress and he sold me with the capital. He said, this is what I paid for it. Because I don't want to tell you later, oh, I gave you this for free, but I didn't want to make profits on you. So I don't make profit. And I wanted to sell a car once, my daughter-in-law's car. And there's a guy who would make out of us nearly £2,000 profit. So I sold it privately, put the advert, and somebody came to our house. So this is the things that Futuwa is don't make use of your friends. Oh, I sell him, make profit out of him. Right? Some people do it. They make a lot of profits from their friends. Sell him a mobile, sell him a car. We had somebody who bought a car from, and then came to me. Oh, you know that? Yeah, I know him, but he sold us a car expensive. It didn't come to me. It wasn't through me. Can you put pressure on him to take it back? He wouldn't listen to me. It's not, somebody I tell him, no, give him the car back. He will. So, I'm the Imam. And they invited people to a house from Naysabur, and one came, a stranger. So he came, after they ate, they came to wash their hands, and there were a lady pouring water for them to wash their hands. And he said, Fatuwa, if I'm really noble and courteous, I don't use women to pour water on me. And the guy before him, he said, I've been coming here for years. I never noticed she was a woman. Like the Prophet ﷺ, when Allah mentioned him in the Quran Surah An-Najm, he said, Ma zagha al-basaru wa ma tagha. Ma zagha, I was so focused on the task, and it doesn't spread his eyes to the what have they got in that room? What they've got in that room? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? He said, I've been coming here for years. I never knew it was a woman who was pouring water for us. So imagine how. And Abu Mansur al-Maghribi said he sold a guy came. Somebody wanted to test Naysapuri, and Naysapuri came to buy a servant, a slave man, and he didn't have, so they gave him a woman as being a man. And this is a man, a servant, he can serve you. She was quite pretty, and Nuh bought her, kind of thinking she was a man. And then she stayed with him for months and months. And then they came and asked the Jariyah, did he discover that you are a woman? He said he never looked at me instead, or never touched me. So he was so noble that he wouldn't stare at, because usually it's haram, it's forbidden to look into amrad, shab amrad. If it's a young man, pretty, it's haram to stare at him. Amrad, you call them. Are the children downstairs?
Outside.
I don't think any of them.
Oh, from outside?
It's from outside.
I thought that's from the speaker.
No, it's from the speaker.
Yeah, probably they tested it.
So,
And also الشطار عليكم السلام ورحمة الله. بعض الشطار طلبوا منه تسليم ورحمة. So one of those Fatuwa, he had a guy work for him, and the ruler wanted him to hand him to the ruler because he wouldn't. So the ruler took him and whiplashed him 1,000 whiplash, and it was really very painful. And he saw a wet dream on that night, and he went and made ghusl in the cold water. They said, "You're going to kill yourself." He said, "I felt really embarrassed in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. For the guy who whipped me 1,000, I was patient, and to have a shower, to pray, I shouldn't show my patience." So he was even towards Allah Azza wa Jal. And people came to one of the Fityan, and they said to him, he invited them for food. And he said to his servant, "Bring the food." And he didn't. He said to him the second time, "Bring the food." He didn't. The third time, "Bring the food." And he didn't. So what sort of, why he's not even responding to you? So have you been awful to him or something? And they asked him, he said, the food, there were some ants eating from the food. So I waited till the ant left. I didn't feel I should carry the dish with ant on it. So he waited for the ant to take how much rice they wanted. Then he brought the food. So you are even better than your master. You have Fatuwa, even better than your master. You're patient with the ant. This good one. Somebody slept in Medina. He was from Hijaz, and when he woke up, he had some sleep. He missed his belt with money in it. So he went out of the mosque and he saw Ja'far Sadiq, the great grandson of Ali ibn Abi Talib and Fatima. So Ja'far Sadiq, he saw Ja'far Sadiq. He said, "Oh, he must be the one who stole my money." He said, "How much money in it?" He said, 1,000 dinar. He said, "Come with me." He took him home. He waited 1,000 dinar, and he gave it to him. So he went back to his tent, to his wife, and he found that the money is there. So he went back to Ja'far Sadiq to give him the money, to apologize and things. And he said, no, money gone, out of my mind. You go back and take it. He wouldn't take it from him. And they sang here the story of Shaqiq al-Balghi, Sha'ban Muhammad al-Fatuwa. In Atayna, he said, what's Fatuwa? He said, when we are given, we thank. And when we are refrained, they give us nothing, we are patient. And he said, that's the habit of the dogs in our city. So what's in your city? He said, if we are given, we prefer to give to other people. And if we are not given, we thank. So if we are given, آثرنا, إذا أعطينا آثرنا. وإن منعنا صبرنا. So when منعنا شكرنا. So we thank Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allah has decided that nothing to come to us. We're accepting that. And the Jariri said, so they went, Jariri said they were invited by Sheikh Abu Abbas to meal, and one of the friends met them on the way. He said, come back with us, we are invited to the house. I said, I'm not invited. He said, no, don't worry, we'll take permission. So he went there, and they told him that, can we have permission to this guy come with us? And he said he didn't want to come, so we said we will take permission. He said, you thought, even the thought in your mind that I will be so stingy that will not allow you in, you must walk in on and touch, I must carry you on my face inside. So he insisted, and they carried the guy, he was touching his face. So he took it like, it's shame that, it's from Fatuwa that if they bring 10 people, that's fine. They wouldn't even count. It was, I invited 5, why the 6? You can't come in. We don't have food for you. And the Fatuwa is to cover up for your friends. So don't let the enemies be on them. Don't side with the enemy against them. And Sheikh Abdurrahman al-Salami, one used to come and say nasheed in his class. And they said, this guy drink alcohol. He's making nasheed in your class. He just kept ignoring them. Until they were walking with the Sheikh, and they saw him drinking alcohol. Here's the guy. We told you he drinks alcohol. And he ordered this guy who was backbiting in a way. He said, you have to carry him now to his house so nobody else can see him. So he just even ignored that he's drinking. They say you take him. This story in Murtaish, he was saying, دخلنا مع أبي حفص على مريض. We went to visit a sick person, مع أبي حفص, and we said to the sick person, do you want to get better? He said yes. He said, okay, we will share your illness. And all of them said agreed to share the illness. So this guy stood up, queued immediately, and the 9 of them were in bed. We have a habit in Syria, alhamdulillah. I mean, I've done it a few times, that if somebody lost money or somebody lost something important, or an item, something, we buy his musibah. Will you sell your musibah? So we buy his musibah, give him the money he lost, or give him the bike he lost, or give him whatever he lost. I'll buy your musibah. Don't worry about me. So and that's fatuwa. That's one of the fatuwa. You buy his musibah. And they bought his illness.
I think,
you have that buying musibah?
yeah, we buy the medicine normally for the health.
Yeah, you buy the medicine.